Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today we're going to be going over 30 tips to get you started in the game Rust. This is primarily aimed at console players, but hopefully everybody's going to have something that they can learn from this. And the one thing I'm going to ask you to do for me and the audience is hit like if there was at least one thing in this guide that you didn't know, and hit dislike if you knew everything. And those of you who are just getting into it, check the like to dislike ratio and figure out if you want to actually watch this video. So let's get into it. So first things first, let's talk about an unraidable base, or an almost unraidable base. This is going to be a base that is unaccessible by any doors. It's going to be completely walled in. It's going to have a tool cupboard on the inside, your important resources on the inside, and you are only going to pass things back and forth through these things. They are called drop boxes. You have two drop boxes, one that passes things out of your sort of inner sanctum and one that passes things in. You have two sleeping bags, one inside the inner sanctum or this walled off area and one outside. You basically use the sleeping bags and the drop boxes to spawn into these unreachable areas and pass things back and forth. You can see with drop boxes, you put one item in, you pass it in, and then you've got a 5x2 area that you can take items in from. So this is going to be the perfect way to keep your tool cupboard sort of as secure as possible, so if someone does raid your base, they just can't get to that inner sanctum and that area that has all your best loot. In addition to this, do note these walls. This wall I'm looking at right now, this is the hard side of the wall, and the soft side would be this flat white area. Now, when it does come to bases and raiding bases, if you end up in a base or you find an abandoned base with doors that are not your own, there's an easy way to get rid of those doors. Put down a tool cupboard, lock the tool cupboard, and then put down some doors that are not the same as the doors that you're trying to break. In the tool cupboard, load it up with resources except for the resource for the door that you're trying to break, and then the door will slowly decay while the rest of the base, assuming it's made of stone or something like that, will stay standing. And this way, when those doors disappear, you have a new base that you can call your own. In addition, when we're talking about bases, make sure you keep multiple bases. In Rust, it is extremely common for a base to be raided throughout a wipe, okay? It's extremely unlikely that you're going to have a base or any set of bases that isn't raided at some point. If you keep multiple bases throughout the map, it's going to be very easy for you to jump back and forth, and if you're raided, you don't lose everything. This is ideal because you will be raided, and losing everything sucks. Now, when it does come to creating multiple bases, make sure with door skins, you don't use the same door skin on every base, because that is a very easy way to figure out who owns what base. Because as the game progresses more and more, especially console, not really now, but as it goes on more and more, people are going to have different skins, and maybe you're going to be the only person with a skin in an area, and having every door with that skin on it is going to be a dead giveaway that those are your bases. Now, when it comes to getting up to no good, whether you're using a bow or a SAR or an AK, operate out of a base that is not your main base, especially if you're solo. If you're in a clan, go for it. Rock big, rock hard, do what you're going to do, right? But if you're going solo, always operate out of a base that you don't really worry about being raided, because if you're up to no good, if you do harass the wrong people, they will try and get their revenge. And when they get their revenge, they're going to try and track you back to your base. And no matter how good you are at hiding and trying not to let people know what's going on, you're going to find out that they figured out where you are, whether it's from opening doors or anything like that, and then they're going to try and raid you. When it comes to raids, always counter the raid, because you can get some cool loot from it, and it's just a fun time to be had. You're going to lose the resources, so why not? Now, when it comes to door camping, always go out of your base naked first, just to make sure there's no one around and get a lay of the land. If you don't do that, some door camper might be hiding right behind your door. They hear you coming, they wait for those doors to pop open, and then they blow you away. This is an easy way to get some really good loot, especially, well, if you want a door camp, it's looked down on, but if you use a DB, it's extremely easy to do. And while we're talking about things that are looked down on, you can also hide in a bush. Sir Winter and Trainwreck know this best, but if you hide in a bush, you can get the jump on a lot of people, because they're not going to be looking there, especially with console graphics. Let's just admit it. Also, when you're looking to get the jump on people, a good time to do it is at night. You can hear everybody running, and as long as you're crouched down, no one will hear you. You can sneak up on people, wait for a firefight to happen, and then take out the two parties when they don't even realize you're there. Because that is honestly the best way to get loot, the best way to get the jump on someone, and the best way to snowball. And that's what everybody's looking to do. Go from a crossbow to an AK, right? And in addition, when it comes to snowballing, another great way to do it is to counter raid. It doesn't matter if this base is a base that's owned by your worst enemy, Hitler, Stalin, doesn't matter who owns it, you probably do want to try and counter raid. The reason you want to do this is because when you counter raid a base, you can actually get a lot of really good resources from the raiders, and if you can sneak inside without them knowing, you can loot a lot of good stuff from the actual base. Now, when I'm counter raiding a base, one thing I try to do is I try to crouch, get as close as I can to the raiders, and I don't want to waste my bullets on anyone, right? I don't want to alert the raiders that I'm there, so if I see a naked or something like that, I let them go. The naked is going to be masking my footsteps now, so I can go ahead and jump around the base, sneak around, get the jump on these guys while they take care of that naked, and before they know it, I'm going to be right to their backs, and then boom, 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 I take them out. And a good thing to note here, okay, when we're talking about this, when you're sneaking up on someone, you can crouch walk. You can stand up and walk, right? You can do basically you hit the crouch button, stand up, hit the crouch button, just continuously do that. And if you do it correctly, you will not make a sound, but you will always sort of occasionally just make a little bit of like a shh. Someone who's extremely tuned into Rust, they will pick up on that noise. So when you get super close to someone, the way you want to do it is just stay crouched down all the time, make as little noise as possible, and just listen for things, right? Listen for things going on inside the base. Listen for things that the raiders are doing. You can hear base doors open and close, so make note of that too. If you are inside your base, people can hear everything you're doing, whether it's opening a door or starting a furnace. People are going to hear that, and they will know that you're home. So when you're sneaking around, just stay crouched. Don't interact with any objects. Don't even change your gun. Don't reload your gun. Don't eat any food. Stay as silent as possible. Use as little things as possible. Switch guns as little as possible. And then when the moment strikes, you take aim and fire. And when you're taking someone out, just be as precise as possible. Don't let adrenaline or anything like that get to you. Just aim, fire, concentrate, and focus. Don't worry about losing resources because you're going to lose them anyways. Wipes don't last that long. Now, when it comes to wipes and it comes to other players in a wipe, never trust anyone. So in this case, we've got a naked right here. Looks like they're no harm to me. They see I've got the rifle, and what they do here is they start crafting something. They start crafting a weapon. I turn my back to them. All of a sudden, they've got a weapon. They're attacking me, and it's time. I've got to take them out. And in this case, this naked came with 2 friends. So now I've got to put them down too because they're definitely going to be going for his weapon. They're going to pick it up and they're going to go after me. So it's best to take them out when you can. And if you look here, this third party, even though they know there's no shot, they still went after me because that's what happens. That is Rust. Never trust anyone. And no matter what you've got, no matter what resources you've got, always try and make a gun, always try and grab a weapon, and always try to make a play because that is where the fun comes in. And the whole goal of Rust is basically happiness, right? You're happiest when you're getting resources and taking them from other people, and other people are happiest when they're taking them from you. Your goal should be to always be armed and always be trying to take happiness because if you're not careful, if you're not armed, if you're not ready, you're going to go farming and those resources are going to end up going to someone else. Next up, when it comes to gathering resources, if you have a hammer, you can actually pick up items whether or not it is your base. If the tool cupboard is open, if the tool cupboard doesn't exist, if it's been blown out by raiders, you can pick anything up that's there. So that is a great way to get a jump start if you join a wipe late. Now, when it comes to running around outside, one thing to note is the cold. When you're in a snowy area, it is going to get cold. And during the day, it will be somewhat cold. But at night, it will be freaking cold. It is going to be like you're living in the middle of Alaska. It's going to be like you're living in the Arctic Circle. It is going to be like you're living right next door to... So yeah, bundle up if you're going into the cold and always watch that because it's very easy to not realize it's nightfall and it got a lot colder. And now you're just going to be not paying attention and wind up dead. Now, if you do find yourself in this situation, one thing to take note of is you can actually go to any sort of campfire or anything like that and gain comfort. When your comfort reaches a certain point, usually 50 to 100%, you are going to start gaining health. So in the outpost, if you go next to this campfire, or if at your base you start a campfire, put down some rugs, your comfort might go up to 100%. And when it is up there, you are naturally going to heal. In addition to this, when you put down a campfire, you can also use that to get metal fragments. In a pinch, if you have cans or empty cans, you can put those into a campfire and you're going to get about 15 metal fragments from each can. So if you're looking to create a iron door or a metal door early on, this is how you're going to be doing it, or this is one way you could do it. If you can't get that furnace, if you can't recycle enough things to get enough metal fragments, start throwing cans in a fire and eventually you are going to get there. One thing to know while we're here is you can use a recycler, and that is a way more efficient way to get metal fragments, scrap, and sort of everything. Now, when it comes to furnaces and everything like that, you want to split your resources up evenly between 3 squares. So the furnace is going to have 6 spaces. 1 space is for wood, 1 space is for coal, 1 space is for the byproduct of what your furnace is creating or whatever, or you're sort of harvesting. and the other 3 spots should be equally split with the ores that you have. This way they're all going to be processing at the same time. If you do 1 square 1 time, it's just not as efficient. When it comes to this, you can also use a refinery to get low grade super fast. You put some wood in, you put your oil in, and now you're going to be getting low grade at a way greater than normal rate. So if you're used to farming canes, farming animals, or anything like this, get some oil, and then low grade is going to come like it's no problem whatsoever. For console players, this probably doesn't matter yet, but once you get to the point where you're using mini copters and cars are introduced into the game, this is going to be a huge tip. So remember it, refineries, use them. Also, if you're looking for food or you're looking to heal up, great place to go to find food is the river. There's a ton of corn, ton of pumpkins, a ton of just good stuff growing right by the river, and that's where you're going to find all your food. And in addition to that, you can also find a lot of hemp here. So if you're looking for hemp, you're looking for cloth, come to the river. And if you're looking for some early game low grade, a great place to look is the harbor. There's going to be a lot of red barrels here. You can harvest those and take them back to your base and create your furnace, or do whatever you're going to do with the low grade. Be your freaky self. And finally, a small tip here, if you're looking for ores, the best place to look is in the mountains, and when you're hitting them, hit that shiny spot, and when it comes to a tree, hit that axe. You're going to get more resources that way. Also, don't sleep on getting a pickaxe or a chainsaw, because those are going to harvest resources so much faster than you'd ever believe. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. This video went way longer than expected, but hopefully you guys liked it. Hopefully you guys learned something. Like I said in the beginning, please hit the like button if this video helped you, and hit the dislike button if there's nothing that you learned from this video. My goal here is to get everybody the best information possible, and the only way I can do it is if you guys help me out and let other people know if this was a good video or not. So yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.